This time on Kawaii-Fi Radio, it's the winter anime season, so that means sexy snowmen. If you aren't aware of Hot Throsty, it's a snowman who becomes sexy.
No, the snowman was hot from the beginning.
We give you some ancient fashion tips.
Old Lizzie used it as well, which is just like straight up lead.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like lead based. Nah, it was just lead. How do I get that TB chic?
Oh, God. And we question a Disney character's preferences.
Cinderella and the
But the
Beast.
Beast is actually hot.
Well, there's that whole meme where Belle's like, ooh, so like how long does this transformation last? Like, are you gonna go back? Yeah, Belle is a furry.
It's over 9,000! NANI?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Wi-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio!
Konnichiwa and welcome. You tuned in to Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast we dive in the world of anime, manga, and otaku culture. I'm Kyle. With me is Emma and Tifa. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Alive.
Alive. Here. Happy New Year.
Yeah. It is a new year, and that does mean that it's a new anime season. And it's the winter anime season, though apparently in some parts of the world you would not believe that. It's a bit of a weird year to begin, and the temperatures all over the world are a bit odd. So we're just going to go with it and pretend it's winter everywhere, especially here in Australia where it's like 35. Well, actually in Tifa's case, it's raining today, which makes no sense in the middle of summer.
Lucky.
But she is in Melbourne, so...
Yeah.
So as we do each season, each of the team have chosen 2 shows from the new season we're looking forward to. Now that covers everything from shonen to josei to, you know, your cringe and to your mystery and everything else.
Horror.
Action, romance, horror, mystery. Plenty to look forward to as always this season. So stick around to find out if we've picked one of your choices this time around. And obviously if you are new to the podcast, hello. Welcome to our regular listeners. Hope you've been keeping well, had a good break. We're on YouTube. You can watch us there, see our ugly mugs. Well, my ugly mug mostly. Everyone else is beautiful. And there's also Patreon if you want additional content. All details down below if you're interested. But let's get stuck in to the new anime season straight off.
That's a lot of anime.
Oh God, there's so many.
Winter anime.
Ah, yes. The beautiful sound of owls.
This is your winter noise.
Yeah.
Okay. Very Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Yeah. Hello, winter, my old friend.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we are going to be experiencing...
Parsley, sage, rosemary,
we're going to be experiencing winter in a couple of weeks in Japan. But while we get stuck in... this season's got a lot of returning shows, a couple of big numbers that we've been looking forward to, and I don't know, a lot of sort of weird ones.
Yeah, there's only a couple on my list that I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Other than the season 2s.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there could have been more. Just like, and also considering last season, the autumn season was kind of a little bit thin on the ground. Like,
yeah.
Autumn's normally the big one, and winter's normally also pretty big because
everyone's inside.
Exactly. So it's kind of a little bit odd, but you know we'll figure out what's going on once we do. Once we find out. I'm sure there'll be some industry news that comes out that explains why the studios have been delayed or something like that. But we haven't heard anything on the pipeline so far. Let's get stuck in with. I don't know where that word came from, but let's get started with Tifa's pick, and I think it's most of the team's pick for the season, and that's Sakamoto Days. Now, this is from a manga, and I think both you and I have read parts of it and went, yes.
Yeah, because, well, I think we've gotten recently a lot of kind of Yakuza or Hitman orientated animes where they go and live a little bit more of a normal life, which is quite interesting. And so in this one, Sakamoto was like considered one of the greatest like hitmen of all time, but then he, you know, like falls in love, and then he's like working in a convenience store, and it's just kind of, it's a lot of fun and kind of cute as well, but also very adventurous. I don't know. It's just it's a little bit of everything for everyone, I feel like. So a lot of people are super interested in this one. I know I am, but it is on Netflix. So I'm always kind of like half concerned about, I don't know, the way that some of these are animated. I think maybe just the way of the house husband has like just stuck in my head because as fun as it was, we really would have wanted that to be like properly animated.
Yeah.
So, but it does look good so
That was
far.
very disappointing, that one.
Such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Like-
But Sakamoto Days has been hyped for ages.
Well, the thing is here as well is that, so Way of the House Husband, at least, apparently the issue was to do with the manga creator. They wanted people to go and read the manga, so they wanted it to look similar to the manga. It wasn't a decision by Netflix by the sound of it. It was apparently an agreement that was made with the rights. And Sakamoto Days, Netflix are just a distributor. They're not involved in actual production, which is good. So TMS Entertainment, who do Dr. Stone, the reboot of Fruits Basket, Megalobox, and quite a few other big name animes over the years, they're the ones who are actually running the show. So
Well, that's good at least.
yeah, at least we know it should be, a normal normal production.
Yeah.
Because no. That Way of the House Husband style does not fit anime production. Like, why bother?
Yeah.
Like,
How did that fare, by the way?
terrible.
Yeah.
Like, people watched the first couple of episodes and went, this is really cool. I wish it was properly animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot there, didn't
Yeah,
they?
it's pretty poorly rated because of the animation. Whereas the Sakamoto Days, I don't think will have any problem at all.
It looks good so far from the trailer that we've been given as well. So I'm sure it'll be just as good as the manga.
Interestingly, this one's got 11 episodes and then a second core in
Yeah.
2025. So I think it's a one season break and then they come back or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's also rated PG, which is going to be interesting because the manga does have a fair bit of blood in it.
I mean, to be fair,
PG for Australia?
Worldwide, PG-13.
I think that a lot of ratings have changed so much since like
Yeah.
10 years ago because, for example, which is not anime related, but Nosferatu is rated R18 in America, but it's rated M
Yeah.
here.
Just
it's
M?
rated M here. Just M. Not MA, it's just M.
So this is the thing. The
Wow.
R rating in the US is R17. It's not
Yeah.
R18.
But usually it would be
which is
15
weird.
plus here. And
Yeah.
we used to, in our ratings here, kind of when it didn't matter as much if it was animated or not animated, if there was like blood or violence or things like that, it would still get a high rating, maybe even more so, especially if it was science fiction or fantasy. But over the past 10 years, that has kind of changed a little bit, and I think that animation gets rated a bit less than because it's
Yeah.
not a real person, that like just in general.
I guess they
so,
consider it not as high impact.
yeah, and like sci-fi and fantasy is kind of rated at a similar level as a normal drama now, whereas before, if something was fantasy for whatever reason, it was like PG normally, it would be PG, and then if it was fantasy, they'd bump it up a little bit, which kind of went with the American religious rating worldwide because everyone kind of copied from that. But now I think
I was gonna
ratings have
say,
differed a lot. So
I blame Game of Thrones because that was violent and lusty the whole way through, and it was too much.
what's interesting? Okay, what is interesting? This is I don't think we could talk about this, but
No,
their
but
rating
yeah.
changes throughout Game of Thrones. So from the first season being R, and then later on some seasons being 15 plus. There's a specific reason why certain seasons are rated higher than other seasons, which we cannot talk about on this podcast. But I think it's quite interesting because that does not apply to films such as Nosferatu anymore. So I think people that
Yeah.
have seen all of these will understand what I'm talking about specifically, but I think it's interesting how ratings have changed, and we can see it here with anime as well, because animation is just rated kind of similarly now or less than,
Yeah.
whereas before I think they would give it a little bit of a higher rating. But,
Yeah, interestingly, out of the 10 choices we've got for this season, only one of them is rated R. And I think that's probably going to be, it's an R17. I reckon it'll be an M15 for Australia.
Which one's that?
It's the last option on the list, Brains. not working today.
Really?
Solo Leveling.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the film was only rated M, the recap film.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
feel
my
like-
anime list only has the US ratings.
I think it would be rated M or PG here.
Yeah.
I
I reckon it'll
think
be
it's
M.
Yeah.
I
I
reckon
think the
it'll be
first
M.
season is it M? I don't know. I'm curious now.
You're like, I need to know. Anyway, back to Sakamoto Days. This is airing on Saturdays at 11 p.m. First episode just dropped at the time of recording. You can watch it on Netflix worldwide. If you haven't heard of it, Taro Sakamoto was once a legendary hitman, considered the greatest of all time. Bad guys feared him, assassins revered him. But then one day he quit, got married, and had a kid. So he's now living a quiet life as the owner of a neighborhood store. But how long can he enjoy his days of retirement before his past catches up to him? One episode. One episode before it catches up to him. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much to the story. But either way, the manga's fantastic. And if it follows it directly, I think this will be an amazing series. So.
I really hope it does, because I feel like the trailer for it dropped, like months and months ago. So,
I'm pretty sure Sakamoto Days won an award as well, quite like a year or so ago, as like one of the early upcoming ones, and I'm pretty sure it was listed in the This Manga is Amazing series a couple of times as well. So look, I have high hopes.
the amount of hype I saw from the trailer, I expected it to come out last season.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of that at the moment, isn't there? There's a lot of trailers coming out a lot further ahead in time.
I also think that when it comes to Netflix, if they're distributing something, they always put the trailer out well ahead of when they should as well, compared to other ones. Because I think usually we see anime trailers maybe a couple of months, a month or two before it releases, in comparison to what they've done with this. So
normally we'll get feature artwork or something like that 3 to 4 months out saying yep, we've got a release date, and then the trailer 2 months out.
Well, with Netflix raising prices and then saying we're going to have ads, and then you have to get another one, they kind of have to dangle that carrot
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
as soon as possible to be I know you want to leave, but in 4 months we're going to have this really cool thing, so why don't you stick around?
I promise we have something coming.
Yeah.
I promise it's not more Hot Frosty.
I promise it's
Apparently
not just
that did
Squid
really
Games
well.
again.
Yeah. Oh, if you aren't aware of Hot Frosty, it's a snowman who becomes sexy.
No, it's a hot snowman that becomes alive.
I mean, okay.
The snowman was hot from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hot Frost.
Gosh,
I don't know who chiseled abs into a snowman.
Must have taken forever.
Yeah.
The
But
leg-
she's this guy's a babe. Let me put my magic scarf on him or something like that. And then
Wow, Hallmark movies
Yeah.
are getting really bad. I mean, they always were, actually. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk a little spooky. Tasokare Hotel, Emma.
this one's my pick.
Yes. It hasn't got Emma in the name. I just got Emma written next to it. Because, this is a fantasy mystery supernatural series. Interestingly, I wasn't actually aware of the studio before this. They're called PRA. They are a support studio previously, and they've now got about 3 or 4 full-length animes in the works that they are in charge of. They've also done a handful of idol-y shows and ecchi shows as well. I think one of them was Bikini Warriors or something, which was a series of shorts. But it looks like, that was 10 years ago. It was 2015 when they were doing those.
Yeah, give us what we really want. We don't want ecchi and boobs. We want horror.
You want spooky. Interestingly, this one's airing on YouTube.
YouTube?
So, yep. It's on the It's Anime channel, which is where I tracked it down from. And that's the version we watched. So, yeah. So it hasn't got any other listed streaming partners, which is very unusual. So I'm wondering if PRA, being a smaller studio, don't have release agreements with, say, Crunchyroll or High Dive.
Wow.
There was another anime a few seasons ago that was also just on YouTube. I can't remember what it was, but everyone was going crazy about it because it was just airing on YouTube, and it was like, I had a lot of people working on it that were really well known, and I cannot remember what it was for the life of me, but everyone thought it was really unusual because it was airing on YouTube, but now having another anime just air straight to YouTube is really interesting.
Yeah, so you can find it on the It's Anime channel. There's 2 episodes out at time of recording of 12. But yeah, Emma, you watched the first one. You immediately went, yes.
Yes, it's my cup of tea. It's spooky dukes. It's pretty. That's all I really need.
So basically, the hotel is like a place that's sort of like limbo, if that makes sense. So it's it's engulfed in twilight all day long. There's no distinction between day and night, and it's between life and death, where souls unable to decide whether to move on to the afterlife or return can rest.
What's the circle of hell
Purgatory.
thing? Purgatory.
Yeah.
It's purgatory.
Yeah. Yes, it's a bowl of peas in hell. This is all you can eat. It's the second phase of hell.
Yeah, so it's purgatory. So the people there don't know if they're alive or dead, basically. And they have to figure out their identity and their name and then who they are. And once they do that, then they can kind of move on to whether that's back to the land of the living or to the land of the dead.
For argument's sake, they might be in a coma or something like that, and that then
Yeah.
triggers them to wake up. So
Yeah, it's like Ghost Sherlock, I guess. Like
Afterlife Sherlock.
it's
Purgatory Sherlock.
It's another version of Sherlock, but yeah.
Yeah, so the main character is Neko Tsukahara, and obviously with a name like Neko, she does have cat sort of like design for her
Attributes,
mouth
yeah.
and her ears and stuff like that. But everyone in the hotel is kind of a bit odd. Like no one is fully human in a way. Like they're all kind of a bit more spiritual, other than that guy.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of like actual spirits there, and then there are people there who just haven't found out who they are yet, so they haven't left, so they decided, I'm bored, I'm just going to do some work at the hotel. And then you have the guests, which don't have a face until they find their name.
So it's Hotel California, the anime.
Yeah. I was
You can
thinking
check
about
out.
that.
You can never leave.
Yeah.
Basically, each of the characters has a room, and in that room there are items which relate to their identity and what they are, and they have to then find those items to uncover what the go is. But apparently, people aren't very good at self-reflection. Who would have thought?
They basically come to the hotel with amnesia, but
Yeah, but
but it's good because it's, even though the main character is like a cat girl-ish, she's not annoying,
no,
which is amazing for anime.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Immediately top tier.
Yeah.
A cat girl, not annoying, win.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it'll be good.
I think it'll be good. It's only 12 episodes. Interestingly, this originates from a game.
It feels very gamey.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a mobile game or like a, like an
Yeah.
Otome or, like similar to Higurashi, where it's a mystery game with different sort of pathways in it. So we haven't had a chance to check into that yet, but it's pretty good. Airs on Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Japanese time. It's on YouTube on the It's Anime channel. I forgot to mention Sakamoto Days, Saturday 11 p.m. as well on
You did mention
Netflix.
that.
I did? Okay.
Yeah.
You did.
Well, we've doubled up anyway. just for a reminder for the anime of the season.
And when we talk about the next one, he'll say Sakamoto Days 11 on Saturdays.
And did I mention Sakamoto?
Just
No.
so you know.
I'm having amnesia now from the show, so like whatever. Anyway, it's good. We've watched the first episode. I'm interested to see where I end up going. So yeah. So let's go to something completely different. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. No surprise, this is from a light novel, with a title like that. This is the Cloverworks anime of the season.
Oh, okay.
So that's Spy Family, Dress Up Darling, Bocchi the Rock, Shadow's House, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, Horimiya, all that sort of stuff.
So she's got some big shoes.
Yeah. So this is literally what it says on the cover. So Alina Clover, Clover works smooth, signed up to be a receptionist for the Adventurers Guild, thinking it'd be a ticket to the good life. Unfortunately, her dream gig turns into a nightmare whenever the adventurers get stuck clearing a dungeon, because then she has to write paperwork. To save herself from the mountain of paperwork, she takes to beating down monsters herself to solve the problem. Now she just needs to keep her activities a secret. I think that lasts one episode.
Well, maybe two, because
Maybe
they don't
two.
know who she is.
No, this is true. Yeah. So
This is another one that was advertised well in advance.
and we saw a lot on TikTok for this as well.
Huge on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is from a light novel, 12-episode run, Crunchyroll, Bilibili China, and some Southeast Asia, and Netflix in some areas for this one. Airs on Saturday, 12:30 a.m., so Friday night, Saturday morning. PG, action, adventure, comedy, fantasy. This just looks like the good fun anime of the season, and with it being Cloverworks, we know the animation quality will be consistent throughout it. So I have hopes, but I haven't had a chance to watch the first episode because it only just landed. So I think this could be a good one for the season. There is a few isekai. There's actually quite a lot of isekais this season, but we've only got a few on the list that we're actually talking about because.
Oh, shush. Oh, my days.
So
Lady.
Siri wants to find out about isekai.
Yeah, bitch. Ah.
That was.
That's fine. Our carpet's plush.
It didn't hit the carpet; it hit the wall.
Oh, that's fine. Our wall is plush.
Okay, but anyway, Guild Receptionist, I think this will be a pretty good one this season. It'll probably be fairly lighthearted and funny. As always with these type of shows, there'll probably be some big adventure event that happens in episode 11 and 12, but the lead up to that will be rather chill and goofy. Hopefully it goes well, but Saturdays at 12:30 in the morning, Friday nights. Should be available Saturdays worldwide, I'd say, as far as streaming goes.
And don't forget Sakamoto Days.
Oh, and Sakamoto Days on Sat. No. So we're going to go to one that we've kind of picked for Kira Lee because it seems right up her alley and she's a little bit flat tack at the moment. This is I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons. This is very much Autumm game-esque. It's a comedy romance, and then we saw the trailer for the first episode. We're not too sure now. It's rated PG. It's from the studio EMT Squared. They've definitely kind of done a lot of work in this area. So they did I'm Quitting Heroing, Kuma 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 Bear, Train to the End of the World, which was from a couple of seasons ago. So they've got pretty good animation chops. So I'm pretty hopeful. But this is a little bit weird. So Letitia Dorman's the daughter of a duke and is less than thrilled to be engaged to the crown prince. Betrothed since childhood and trained to be queen, she always hoped Prince Clark would fall for someone else one day. So when he shows up at a ball with another woman, she excitedly retreats to the countryside to start her new life, only for him to appear and determined to win her heart.
Yeah, so this one is a similar ilk to Seventh Loop. And there's I feel like there's a trend now where there's one of these every season.
Yeah.
Engaged and then broken off in front of everybody, and you either have to rebuild your life or you're
become an adventurer like
hell
me.
yeah, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And story.
The fact that he comes back annoys me.
Yes. So this was going to be
you
my
lost, dude.
This was going to be my pick until TikTok, as it does, showed me the first scene where she was like, "Oh, you're breaking up with me? That's sick. Let's go. I'm getting out of here. Have lots of babies, prosper, chill. See
Thanks
you later."
for taking my trash.
Yeah, pretty much said to the girl, "Thanks for taking this burden off of me." And she dips, and then he's like, "Wow, I really love her." It's like, bro, nah. You made your choice.
No, you messed up and go away.
You dunked up. Too bad. You got that.
He wants her
that
now
other
because
gay.
he can't have her. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we're not sure. It could be funny, but I have concerns.
When's that one? Because there's another one coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Another broken up royal fiance in front of everybody, and the girl slaps him.
I think that's next season.
Yeah, see, that's been
Again,
like
promoted
since last season.
And guess what? There's also a Netflix one.
Netflix!
Yup.
So, yeah, this one is Crunchyroll and the whole Muse network. So that's Muse Asia and Singapore, Muse India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam. So Muse is at least starting to get reconnected with their Crunchyroll productions because Crunchyroll, for those who don't know, generally don't broadcast to Southeast Asia or Central Asia because they're already existing groups in those markets who have agreements in place. Muse is one of those major players and they have quite a wide network, but it seems the last couple of seasons they haven't gotten much, or if they have, they've gotten it very late, like 6 episodes in, and then they've got to do the translation work. So yeah, it's nice to see them like at the start of a season actually have a few shows in their catalog already. So that's good to see. This is going to air on Sundays at 10 p.m. 12 episodes from a manga, PG rated comedy romance. It could be good. I'm just hoping she keeps turning him down.
I'm pretty sure she does, but I'm hoping that
Gets a hint.
She kicks his ass. That's basically what I'm hoping for.
Maybe she marries him and has him assassinated, and she's the queen.
Yeah, okay.
That's the only acceptable result if the get together happens. Devious scheming.
No, the acceptable result is if he has like a long lost hotter older brother that comes back that she then marries.
Yeah, and then usurps him.
That's what we want.
That's what we want.
People,
yeah.
put those vibes out into the universe. Hotter missing older brother vibes.
Please. No. Okay, let's talk about one of the ones for this season that we think could be a bit of a showstopper. This is ZENSHU. Now, ZENSHU kind of basically translates to do it again. Which this is so this is really good, but it is not what I thought it was going to be, and I kind of don't want to spoil the surprise.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to explain it without explaining the genre. So it's PG. It's been produced by MAPPA, who did Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man, Ranma Half, Zombieland Saga. We know MAPPA. They do a lot. Questionable business practices, good animation. This is an original anime. It's only going to have 12 episodes, so at least we're not in that weird situation where it's an original anime with 26 episodes and they get lost halfway through.
Episode 16, we all find out that we hate it.
Yeah. It's going to Crunchyroll and it's going to air on Sundays at 11:45 p.m. So Sunday night, Monday morning. This is focusing on a girl called Natsuko Hirose. She graduates from high school and starts her career as an animator, and her talent quickly flourishes. She makes her debut as a director very quickly. Her first anime becomes a massive hit, sparks a social phenomenon, and earns her recognition as an up-and-coming genius director. Her next project is set to be a romantic comedy movie themed around first love. However, having never been in love herself as she's devoted to work, she struggles to understand the concept of first love, and as a result, she hasn't created the storyboards, which is causing the movie production to come to a standstill. Words. So one day, she passes out while working on her storyboard, and that's where we pick up the story. So, yeah.
Which comes just like right out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, there are signs. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
They, like, in the first episode, they go absolutely bananas with the animation. Like, there's a term in anime, and if you're relatively new to the podcast, we probably haven't said this in a while, it's called sakuga, and it's basically when the animation studio says to the animators, go nuts, spend as much budget on this scene as you want. They do that.
It's very creamy, flowy.
Oh, shiny.
Yeah.
Like transitioning crystalline colors. And it's like, tasty. But this anime, I think, is going to have a lot of like sakuga moments where they've gone absolutely bonkers for it, because this seems to be a real passion project of some of the team at MAPPA. My understanding is the director is a longtime MAPPA director. So hopefully that means that, you know.
And it's not the type to have like these really extravagant shots and then like the next like 4 minutes of rinky dink because they blew all their budget. It's all nice.
It's all nice.
Although I do have a soft spot for those ones where they're just like rinky dink. They have no faces, like people in the background. There's like no faces.
It's like My Hero Academia, where it's like a
so
big fight
good.
scene in the background. It's just like, you know, they've got lines for eyes and mouth, and that's it.
Love it. I love it.
So good. The director and production team, head producer is Takahiro Ogawa, and they've been involved in a lot of big production worlds as production manager. Yuri on Ice, God of High School, Kakaguri, Banana Fish, Tondomo Skill, so like the feet eating one, Zombieland Saga.
What?
The guy with a big wolf and they're cooking campfire cooking another world.
Okay,
Ah,
I thought
yeah.
it was the feet eating one. I was
No,
like, why are you saying that to me like I know what that is?
I don't know what that
You're like,
is.
yeah, you know, the feet eating one, Emma. That was a favorite of yours.
Definitely, right? Yeah. There are a lot of producers on board with this. So this is kind of like a very different look to the staff compared to what we saw with like Wonder Egg Priority all those years ago
Yeah.
at Cloverworks, where it was all new staff.
Nice.
Almost like there is at least 2 tenured staff members in each of these roles. They're not all new. So
So-
I'm hopeful that this story will actually be well thought out.
Something really interesting about this one is that when Yuri on Ice officially stated that they weren't going to be making the movie anymore, a lot of the people that were working on that said that they were going on to a passion project that was going to be completely original as well. So I would say that that is this.
That's this.
And
wow.
that they had been really wanting to work on this for a long time. And because it is an original project, you can kind of... It's interesting I guess the subject of the original project as well, because they've clearly had a lot of influences and a lot to say after the cancelling of something they worked on for a very long time as well. So I think that for a lot of people that were really interested in that series and the potential of that movie will find like kind of like little Easter eggs of how these animators felt during that time as
Yeah.
well, and what they were trying to convey that they couldn't convey. And it's just a great way to support different work that they get to do now as well. And the series looks really good.
Yeah, we watched the first episode and
Yeah.
there was a lot of moments of what? In a good way. Like it was good. But yeah, the main character, her hair is always like in her face. You can't see her. And apparently she decides that, you know, she's not going to cut her hair until she finishes the storyboards. And obviously that's not going well.
Her hair is very long.
So yeah, this one is Crunchyroll worldwide. We don't have any other listings for where it's going to show up, but that might just be because it's only just had the first episode drop. So hopefully we'll have some more listings in the next couple of weeks for those in Europe and also for those in Southeast Asia. Apothocary Diaries Season 2. This is Emma's Jelly and Jam.
Oh, this is my everything.
So, drama, historical, mystery. We've talked about Apothocary Diaries a few times on the podcast before. This is just beautiful. And this time it's on Crunchyroll and Netflix.
Baby, have they slapped some budget on this one? I watched the opening before Carl was like, hey, do you want to be on a podcast? And just from the opening, I was like, poof, there is some money here. It's so beautiful.
So this is being jointly produced by Toho's animation department and OLM. Toho's animation department haven't done much of note except for Apothocary Diaries. The other stuff is kind of a bit like, Whereas OLM is done Communique, Communicate. They're the primary studio for everything Pokemon, Summertime Rendering, Faraway Paladin. Like they've got chops. I didn't realize that this was actually from a light novel originally, and that explains why the manga's so far behind.
People absolutely froth over the light novel, but personally, I think the writing is terrible.
Light novel writing tends to be
like the story. A+. Mm-hmm. The deliverance of the story, like, no.
Just not even a rating. Just
doesn't
no.
get a grade. Like,
Yeah.
it did not show up. to the exam. It guesses 0 across the board. Like, I literally can't even read it. It's so
I think
bad.
one of the big problems with light novels as well is translation, because there is usually kind of poor translation where they don't really get all the things in there that they need to convey as well. And usually when they first get translated before they have a manga, it's even worse because they don't know if it's going to be successful or not. So they don't really hire really good translators in comparison to when a manga gets made, they hire better translators for that because it's usually more of a success. So,
and what I'm finding is
there's-
really crazy is that Audible is now doing audiobooks in-house of light novels.
yes,
And they're using this translation and it's not good.
Ooh.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
I feel so bad for the voice actors.
There's
But
quite
in comparison,
a few.
I would like to say Korean light novels usually have better translation than the English light novels, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Fair. There are so many translations of the manga out there.
Yeah.
And they all have slightly different nuances.
Yeah. No, so if you don't know what Apothocary Diaries is, this aired last year on Netflix and it became an instant hit. Had 24 episodes. This has got another 24 episodes.
This is another Sherlock.
It is. And we do
But,
have a
like-
joke that every season there's a Sherlock anime. We've got 2.
And every season Emma enjoys it.
So when a favoured concubine becomes pregnant, Mao Mao is put to the test as her food taster. She must keep her wits sharp, not only to protect the concubine, but also the rate against the rising dangers in the palace. A new concubine with powerful ties, an unsolved attempt on Jinshi's life, and a foreign envoy with impossible demands hint at a grand conspiracy poised to engulf the empire. So if you aren't aware of season 1, this is kind of set in like feudal China, and it's, you know, Mao Mao basically gets brought in as like
She gets sold to the palace.
yeah.
But, you know, she doesn't have any parents, so nobody cares. And through a series of events, she ends up working with the concubines because her uncle, I guess, her great uncle, or whatever, is an apothecary, so like a ye olde medicine man. And, you know, hijinks ensue, I guess.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so she is the Sherlock of the show, and she has to solve like a bunch of things. Like one of the concubine gets sick, and the children are constantly dying, and it turns out because of the makeup that they use,
It's
which
got lead in it or something.
yeah, so back in the day,
Yeah.
old Lizzie used it as well, which is to cover her pock marks. It was like a white, like powder paint. It was lead. It was just like straight up lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even like lead based. Nah, it was just lead.
If it can protect me from a nuclear bomb, it can protect me from the sun.
Yeah. Crazy how we come back to things like having that look of paleness, and then in the West, everyone was like, "Ooh, I want to get consumption, so I get that like them cheekbones.
Those cheekbones.
How do I get that TB chic?"
Oh, God.
Yeah, new trend for the summer is tuberculosis.
Oh, wow. Well, look, this is fantastic. Like, even if these sort of shows typically wouldn't be your cup of tea, I think Apothocary Diaries is worth having a look at because the storytelling elements of it are really well done. The animation is stunning, and as Emma's pointed out, this season they've gone even further with the quality. It's a good, fun show. While it is drama, historical, mystery, there is also elements of comedy. There is goofy elements to it. There are the classic, you know, anime tropes of like something really weird happens. You go to the character and their face is really simple. And they're like, what?
Yeah, it's very comedy heavy as well, which is good. But the mysteries in it actually are mysteries. You know, they're not like shallow kind of.
They're not.
Such and such didn't talk to such and such, so therefore everything's a mystery.
Yeah, or like, you know, no one is going to this room at the high school. I wonder why. Oh, it's a raccoon.
Yeah, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just from watching the opening, I know that there will be 2 scenes in this season that the fandom is obsessed with. And that, if you know, it's the fairy scene, the dancing fairies with the possibly Russian twins, and the frog scene.
That's all you're going to say, and people will know.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Okay.
Boy, howdy, if you know, you know.
I have concerns. This is
Yeah.
rated PG still, right? Yes. Okay. So look, it is rated PG. Maybe not so much for the younger generation, just with some of the content that's...
It's fine. It's just that the younger generation won't find it interesting because it's a bit more... Yeah, it's, about medicine. It's about concubines. It's about politics and...
Yeah. Maybe, I'd say, it is listed as, shonen for some reason, but it's not. It's definitely more like josei, so, 18-plus female is the target demographic of the story.
I'd say 14.
14?
14 plus,
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
So shoujo.
Yeah. 14
okay.
plus females, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Well, look, very good. Airs on Fridays, 11 p.m. Second episode should be due later this week. First episode's already out on Netflix and Crunchyroll, so check it out. It's been consistently one of the ones we've talked about since it started airing, the original season.
Even Kenny loves this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all love it, so it's worth checking out. All right, ready for some romance? Because I Have a Crush at Work is the name of the anime we're talking about. Sorry, Mike.
No, it's okay because he works from home.
So, I Have a Crush at Work. It's my wife. So this is a romance comedy sign-in with an all-adult cast as opposed to high school. It's being animated by Studio Blade, which did Hokkaido Girls Are Super Adorable, Iwa Kakeru, which is the sports climbing girl one during the Olympics, which was a bit weird. My recently hired maid is suspicious, and recently Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero. Now, out of all of those, only Hokkaido Girls was good.
Did we even finish it though?
I watched it.
Oh, okay.
I finished it, and the story's good.
Yeah.
But it is very much propaganda to go to Hokkaido. So and there's another one this season where it's I'm in love with a Okinawan girl, but I wish I could understand what she's saying, and it's just propaganda to get you to go to Okinawa.
Because we need that.
Yeah, apparently we need that. So this is romance comedy sign-in, PG rated, comes from a manga. Don't know how many episodes yet. Likely 12 though. It's very rare these type of shows get 24. It airs on Mondays at 11 p.m. and it's going to be on quite a weird list of places. We'll come back to that.
I do like how it's not a will they, won't they? It's a they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
first episode. So Yui Mitsuya and Masugu Tataishi aren't just any co-workers, they totally have the hots for each other. His helpful yet humble attitude makes her giddy, and her cuteness leaves him grinning like a fool. Problem is, they're trying to keep their new relationship under wraps to avoid making things awkward at work, but seeing how they can't keep their hands off each other, they run the risk of spilling their little secret with each passing day. It's just cute, slice of life, comedy romance in the office where people are trying to be like, they're not dating, but they are. And I reckon everyone will know from episode 1, and the two of them will think they're being shifty.
It's like the exact opposite of 365 Days to the Wedding.
Yeah. Which honestly,
That was cute as hell.
that was cute as hell, but the ending just kind of feels like they decided to just wrap it up.
Yeah, they were like, well, we're not getting another season, so let's just get done with it.
Yeah. So this is going to be airing on Anyone Asia, Bilibili in China, so Anyone Asia's Hong Kong, Bilibili Global, and more to be announced. It hasn't got a deal with Crunchyroll or Netflix or High Dive yet, but High Dive also haven't finished announcing their full list of shows for the season. So it could be heading there, or it could end up on Amazon Prime or Disney or something as
Someone
a
will
leftover
pick it
scrap.
up. So many now.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a weird situation. Knowing us, we'll find a way to watch it either way, whether that's using a VPN to use Anyone
a lot
Asia
of things that are on Bilibili, they are available for us to watch in Australia as well. So it's always worth checking.
Yeah, this is true. Which is funny because we don't think of Bilibili as like I know there's Bilibili Global, but we don't think of of it as something we've got access to.
Australia gets nothing, so I never expect us to have it.
Exactly, right? So anyway, that's airing at the moment. First episode's already out, at least in the areas where it's currently going. Check Bilibili if you're in the US or Australia and you want to try and give it a shot. My Happy Marriage. This is season 2 of the wonderful, spooky
romance.
It's a drama fantasy romance with elements of supernatural.
Yeah.
Both Kiralee and Emma love this one. PG, Cinema Citrus are in charge of it. Maiden Abyss, Shield Hero, Quack Quantum, Hack Quantum is the studio behind it for them. 13 episodes this one, and it's exclusively Netflix worldwide. This was a big one for like the Josei and Shoujo crowd when the first season came out. Like, it was very popular.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't know how popular it would be. And then because they didn't hype it as much as a Netflix show usually would.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it in advance on TikTok and stuff quite a bit, but not anywhere close to some of their other ones, like Sakamoto Days and stuff that they know are going to be hits. And then this one just kind of exploded.
And then they went, oh.
They're like, oh, right, sick.
And I mean that's what
Season 2.
that's what happened with Apothocary Diaries. Season 1 was Netflix exclusive, and Crunchyroll went, we need in on this. So, but interestingly, My Happy Marriage, that hasn't happened. It's still Netflix exclusive, so Netflix have retained the rights, which is good.
I do wonder if the popularity of these two then influenced the fact that they're pushing that princess that punches that guy so much, because it's
very similar sort of genre.
Yeah, the kind of people that would like My Happy Marriage and Apothocary would probably also like that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if Netflix is finally learning that women exist.
No, really?
And that we are nerds.
Yes.
So that would be good.
It would be, yeah. So if you haven't seen season 1 of My Happy Marriage, it focuses on Mio Saimori. She was born talentless to a noble, famous family. They were famous for their supernatural abilities, and she's forced into an existence of servitude by her abusive stepmother, who obviously favors the stepdaughter. When Mio finally comes of marriageable age, though, her hopes of being whisked away to a better life crumble after she discovers her fiance's identity, Kyoka Kudo, a commander apparently so cold and cruel that his previous would-be brides all fled within 3 days of their engagements. There's a mystery around that. With no home to return to, Mio resigns herself to her fate and soon finds that her pale and beautiful husband-to-be is anything but the monster she expected. As they slowly open their hearts to each other, both realize the other may be their chance at finding true love and happiness.
Yeah, it's like Japanese Cinderella magical girl meets Beauty and the Beast. But like Cinderella and the Beast.
But the Beast is actually hot.
If you
you're opening up a box of like other stuff there, and I think
let's
people
not
might
go
fight
whether
you
or
in the
not the
comments.
beast is hot, because the internet would tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
But
Furries.
there's that whole meme where Belle's like, "Ooh, so like how long does this transformation last? Like, are you gonna go back?"
Wow.
Belle is a furry. Anyway.
Wow, I was not expecting that part of the conversation today.
Yeah, it's magical girl Cinderella meets Japanese beast.
Okay, cool. Well, Bella's a furry. That's not a line I expected to hear today. Anyway, My Happy Marriage, Netflix, airs Mondays at 10:30 p.m. in Japan, so probably available Tuesdays in most of the world at the latest, I'd imagine. Next one is way off kilter from everything we've talked about before. This is Aaron's pick, and I'm also with him on this, provided it doesn't overdo it. So it's The Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World. It is an action-adventure comedy fantasy. It is basically the Red Power Ranger sacrifices himself in the real world and gets re-isekai'd into a fantasy world, but still has his powers.
This has the potential to be really good if they can like stick to the bit.
Yeah.
So he has Power Ranger powers in Middle Earth, basically, which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it's a wonderful concept.
And he also seems to like not care that no one else realizes.
Oh, completely oblivious.
Yeah.
Much like most rangers are.
Yeah. He seems like a bit of a himbo, which I think if they stick to that concept for it will work amazingly.
Oh, yeah. Just dumb as a rock. Super powerful being in a village.
Yeah. So this is from a manga. It's going to air for 12 episodes on Sundays at 11:30 p.m. on Crunchyroll. Studio is Satellite, who we see pop up every now and then. They did Log Horizon's original run, Hellsing Ultimate, Symphogear XV recently, which is like the musical one, but it's also action. It's not like Idol-y, it's like...
I don't like music ones
I
at
know.
all.
Macross Frontiers and Fairy Tail. So they've got a pretty wide range of experiences. But
Fairy Tail, is that the one that came out a couple of seasons back? Is that one?
No.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Sugar Plum Apple Fairy Tale.
yeah, no,
No,
this
the
is
one
Fairy
that-
Tail
Fairy
with like
Tale.
the
Yeah.
the long
Fairy
run.
Tale.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
with Lucy
Mermaids or
and
something, I don't know.
Something
Natsu.
else.
Yeah.
I that's the I
Yeah.
never watched Fairy Tale.
No.
I mean, like, and then what was it? Eden Zero came out, and it's just Fairy Tale in space, the same characters.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
They just he
pretty
did
good.
not even change.
Wow,
the,
this did really well, so let's just...
And
Do
then
it
they have
again.
they have Farmagia, which is a game, and I think it's actually an anime this season as well, which is,
it is, yeah.
Fairy Tale on a farm.
Is it the same
So-
characters?
They
Perfect.
look the same. I'm kind of loving that they all look the same because it just becomes this ongoing joke of them just being everywhere. And I actually think it's working for them marketing wise now because this is the third thing that's exactly the same. And
Yeah.
it's like,
That's
sure,
so
you know
good.
what? Go for it.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's the multiverse.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's hilarious. But yeah, anyway, Red Ranger, it focuses on Asagaki Togo. He was the Red Ranger in a heroic ranger squad, and during their final battle against an evil organization, he gives his life to guarantee their triumph. Fate had other plans for him, however, and he found himself reborn in an entirely different world, and embracing his new role as an adventurer, he transforms into Kazuna Red and continues his pursuit of justice, helping those in need.
When we were watching the trailer, just the amount of times that he was standing in front of a
Explosions.
bad guy that was, like literally in a field with like
Yeah.
pigs and sheep, and there's just an explosion behind him where he's looking at the camera, pulling some like
Pose.
knobhead move, like kind of thing. It was
Dabbing.
so, like just these stupid, amazing Zenshi kind of poses.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's just like, what is going on?
Where's that explosion come from? Are the cows all right?
We don't even have running water. Who are you?
So as long as that bit stays,
Yeah.
and that because he ends up in an adventuring party, and his adventuring party seem to be very confused as to what he does and how he's doing it, and that needs to stay. The mystery should never be resolved until like the end.
Yeah, I don't know how it'll go, but if it can keep that kind of like hilarity level,
Yeah, throughout.
it has the potential to be very good.
So yeah, that's Sundays, 11:30 on Crunchyroll worldwide. Hopefully we'll get some more details for Southeast Asia for them too. All right, last one on our list is another sequel. This is Season 2 of Solo Leveling. Tifa, this is your jam. We still need to finish Season 1.
What is this one? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, we watched one episode and then we got distracted.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the better Sword Art Online.
Okay, well, I
So
haven't seen that either.
basically-
So
That's for the best.
So basically, this focuses, so the first season focuses on Jinu, who's Korean. FYI, this is a Korean light
originally.
novel,
Oh,
which was
okay.
turned into
Hell yeah.
a manhwa and then anime. Anyway, so Jinu is a level E, like, dungeon hunter person, basically. Really bad, just really, really terrible.
He's
But,
like the weakest
yeah.
dungeon hunter of
Yeah.
all registered.
and he's kind of known because he is the weakest, so when he shows up to the dungeon, everyone's like, it's gonna be easy. It'll be fine. He's here. We're good. We're Gucci. And he's doing this because obviously his mother is sick. He needs money. It's probably the best way to gain money in this world that they live in.
Just to clarify, this is an urban fantasy, so it's in modern day settings, and dungeons appear randomly in the world.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it an old dude or a young dude?
Young?
He's like 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so, he shows up to a dungeon and they kind of like clear the dungeon and another kind of doorway opens in front of them. So it's a double dungeon. And they haven't seen anything like this before and it could be dangerous to go ahead. But the dungeon was relatively easy, so they think they have a good chance. They go into the dungeon, it's nothing like what they've seen, and
It's
it
like an
is
S-tier.
really like beyond S tier. And
Yeah.
it's really difficult to get out. And they try their best. Lots of people die, lots of people get injured, and Jinu, technically it looks like he dies, but he gets the chance to kind of live
reawaken.
on. Yeah, reawaken, basically.
Like that screen that's like continue 10.
Yes,
9.
yes.
Legitimately,
and he's never
yes.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally that happens. And he's
Yeah.
never seen anything like that. Nobody else has ever seen anything like that. And he is now able to, from that point, after he recovers in hospital, is now able to continue leveling up as if he was in a game. And so he kind of has to navigate this sort of area with his real life and then dungeons, and it's quite an interesting sort of fantasy. And
It is very much a power fantasy.
Yeah, it is definitely a power fantasy. When it first came out as well, people were very concerned about the fact that it's a Japanese adaptation of a Korean story. Especially later on in this story, there are a lot of things that imply, I guess, like real world events between Korea and Japan. And
There is
some
some criticism of Japan in the manga as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
And that's what we're going to see more of within this season. So that's what I think most people are very interested in seeing, how it's going to kind of turn out in a way. So that'll be interesting. But I will say that already the fight sequences are incredible. They just pack a punch straight up. They're just like, yep, let's go straight into it. And it's really good. The first kind of like fight sequence that you get to see is like exactly how I imagined it, basically. So I really enjoyed that. And I will also say they made him look super Korean in this season. So when he like first, he shows up with his like new haircut and stuff, which happens, I think it's like halfway in the first light novel, in the first book. So
Has he
that's
got
kind
that,
of
like,
where the
that cut
first
that's
season
like
starts.
this?
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah. You know the
curtain
haircut?
to here, yeah. All the oppas have that cut. All of them.
Yeah. It's the K-drama haircut, right?
Yeah,
And he shows up like that, and I'm like, wow, they really, really made him look Korean. Whereas in the first one, you could probably get away with calling it a Japanese story. It even just looks like a Korean manhwa in the second season. The slight differences and changes they've made in animation makes it look so much more Korean, which gives me more hope that they will deliver this story correctly.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it's going to be
also-
interesting to see how they do this as well, because A1
Yeah.
Pictures are the one animating it, and that's owned by
Yeah.
Sony. And Sony in Korea, there's some issues there. They like, yeah, they're not very well received typically in Korea, Sony. So, yeah. Anyway,
Actually, I
that
think
'cause they have
this season has a
Samsung?
few
amongst other
different.
things.
Yeah.
I think this season has like a few like collaborative studios with them as well. I don't think it's just A1 for this season. At least that's what I saw online somewhere. That could be wrong, but that's what I saw. And in the cinema, the credit list had a lot more studios than the first season did.
Oh, for that the collected
Yeah.
one, yeah. No, A1 is still listed as the primary studio, but the producers list is actually a lot longer. So
Okay.
they've got Aniplex, Crunchyroll, Sonolude, Netmarble, Kakao Picoma, and DNC Media, at least as far as the listings go. But there will obviously be a lot more studios who work as support studios, which are not listed
for
as a
sure.
primary a studio for it. So we'll have to have a look at the credits to actually find out. But 2
Yeah.
episodes are out so far, so...
Also, the new opening song is done by Lisa and also Stray Kids' Felix, who was from Australia.
Wow.
So
Ooh.
that's
Wow.
interesting. But yeah, it looks like they just went straight into it, and it looks really good so far. So
Nice. So this airs on Saturdays midnight, so Saturday night, Sunday morning. This season's running for 13 episodes. Crunchyroll, Bilibili, IQIYI in China, and Netflix International as well. It's currently listed as R17 plus for America. That might be M15 for Australia. It's kind of hard to tell. It could go either way depending on the way they approach it. But action, adventure, fantasy. It's not an isekai, it's a urban fantasy. So like it's modern world and then like gateways open up. So you still have like all of the modern technology and stuff like that involved in it, which makes it like quite an interesting sort of play with the power on it as well.
I do think that this season will get a lot more of the time in those gateways than we did last season. So you get a lot more of the kind of fantasy elements, which is really, really cool.
Because last season was all kind of like focused on the training and like the development. And did he end up doing like the training stage, if that makes sense?
Kind of, yes.
Kind
so
of?
like
Okay.
he's going through all of the training of the game,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like pretty well leveled up by the time we get into season
Okay.
2, so he is able to do a lot more. Yeah, I don't know, it's really interesting because I didn't read the manhwa, I read the novel, so it visually is quite interesting to compare, I think.
See, I was reading the web manga when it was coming out, and
Yeah.
like it looks very visually similar to
Yeah.
what they did for that because it was very detailed and very, very beautiful.
I think just a lot is very different from the book.
Yeah.
When I watched the first season, just visually, I think there's only so much that they can do with the anime. Especially, I think the
Yeah.
people is the thing that's the most different, other than Jinu and his friend that kind of follows him around a lot through those dungeons. I forgot his name. But some of the other people, like secondary or background characters, have kind of a slightly different appearance, I think.
I'm having a look at the so the light novel ran from 2016 to 2017, and then the manga adaptation was 2018 to 2023. So, but everywhere online's going, yeah, it's based on the manhwa. I'm like, so are you saying you've got confirmation that they're using the manhwa story over the novel story?
Yes, they
So
are.
that's
they
it.
are.
Okay, so that makes sense. But yeah, either way, original content was the novel, and then it was so popular. Oh, a spooky boy!
So cute.
He's just such a sleepy, spooky boy. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, Solo Leveling, definitely worth checking out. If you haven't already checked out season 1, that gives you something to binge in the meantime while you wait for.
I definitely
more episodes.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sold.
So watch the
Your
recap movie,
solo?
just watch the season.
But look, that's at least the 10 we've picked for this season. There are more this season that we're also checking out, but you know, we try to kind of limit how much we bring up in this because otherwise it's a 3-hour episode and it's too much. And no, we did that in the past and it's not worth it. No one wants to sit. That's too much of your time to ask for. So with that in mind, we're going to quickly jump over, talk season in review, and then we'll give you some anime news.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Why do we watch that?
Definitely in my top 5. Season in review.
On that note, Dr. Stone season 4 is also this season too, so there you go. So, season in review. We've talked about the new season, obviously, but we've just had the season finished. Now, we're not going to do the whole year because that's next episode, because that is our Anime Awards episode. But the last quarter for last year, so the autumn season, was kind of a little thin, but that meant that the ones that stood out really stood out. So, first up, obviously, we have to talk about Dan to Dan. Like,
Chef's kiss.
anime of the season.
Perfect.
Like,
Outstanding.
beautiful, incredibly animated, fun story. Second season's on the way. We knew this was going to be good, and they delivered.
Yeah, lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
thank
definitely.
God. Yeah. But there's nothing worse than like with Shikonoko.
Yeah.
Did not live up to the hype.
No, it didn't. Like that joke got old very quickly.
Yeah, it did.
But so yeah, Dandadan was excellent. If you're not aware of Dandadan, basically it's about a young boy and a young girl. The boy believes in UFOs. The girl believes in ghosts and spirits. Neither of them believe the other, so they send each other to a place where each of those things will occur, and they both run into them. And from there, hijinks ensue.
He gets cursed.
He gets cursed. Yeah.
Through various ways.
And they start collecting friends to battle these spirits and aliens and all these other things that go a bit bananas.
Mm-hmm.
It's good fun. The manga's still going and it's going strong. I think we're getting pretty close to like getting to a final arc in the manga, if I'm honest.
Who did this one?
This was Science Saru, who we love Science Saru, but they normally their art style is normally a bit more art house. So this one, we weren't sure how it was going to be handled, if it was going to be very
Kinda
pretty.
makes sense
but
if
you
it
can
was
kind
an
of
art house.
You can kind of see it in elements the way they do
Oh
it.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
It's
like
stunning.
the previous ones they've done was like Night is Short, Walk On Girl, Don't Touch Aizuken, which is the one which is all about manga creation and the history of animation. It's really good. But they all have a very unique sort of ethereal style, if you would, that is very different from what we typically see. So, yeah, it's interesting that they actually kind of managed to mash that up really well with the original style. Another one from this season to talk about is Ranma Half's reboot. It's been exceptionally well done and exceptionally well received. If you enjoyed the original Ranma and a Half and you're not don't remake shows type of person, you'll enjoy it.
Get over it.
Yeah, like
Because you'll enjoy this one.
yeah, like I'm in a fan.
That was me. I was like, I don't understand Ranma Half. I didn't grow up with it. I didn't get it. I saw some of it. I was like, I don't understand the hype. I was obsessed with this reboot.
You were. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I'm in a couple of Facebook groups where it's typically, older anime fans, and so many of them are like, I don't like the new one. I'm like, did you even watch it? Like, it's exactly the same as the original, but it's shiny. And without the junk, that the original had that wasted time and got the first season cancelled. Like, and for those who aren't aware, the original Ranma anime season 1 after it finished, it got cancelled, and the studio went, we're not doing this anymore because it's so poorly received. So then it went to a different studio and a different broadcaster, and only then did it get resurrected after about 12 months, which is why it ends nonsensically. Like, Ranma's going off to China again. Why? Okay. And they kind of pulled that a little bit with this season as well for the finale, but it was actually one of the story points. So as opposed to it just being the season's ending, so he's going to go on a search of self-discovery. And they ended up not having to do that, so, whatever. But Ranma and a Half, definitely worth checking out if you like those, if you grew up with the original, or if you just kind of want to see what all the hype was about with the, Rumiko Takahashi's shows and why she is, other than Dragon Ball, the biggest, manga creator internationally. Like, she owns the most, which says a lot considering how big Dragon Ball and some of these other shows are. You'd think One Piece and that from a manga standpoint would outpace it. No,
I reckon it's also definitely on the list for OP of the year.
Yeah, that opening is amazing. So is the outro as well, actually.
So good.
Like, they've really captured the 80s vibe of the original while taking in the Chinese influences as well that are part of the story, and just made it feel right.
Yeah.
And again, there are going to be
So
people who
good.
don't like it, but as someone who grew up with Ranma and a Half, I adore it. I think it's perfect. They have nailed the vibe. So if you like that, if you liked Inuyasha, you'd probably like it as well.
Now that I want a reboot of.
Yeah. Well, they tried to do it.
Are you listening? Anyone? Netflix, Snapper, I don't care.
Well, they tried to do a continuation with Yashahime, and it's awful.
Yeah.
That's not what I want.
I want the original.
A redo.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
mean, we might get it after Ranma because they've already done Urusei Yatsura, and then it was Ranma, and then it was Inuyasha. So fingers crossed. But Yashahime, don't watch it. It's not good. It's terrible. All right. And then Yakuza Fiancé.
oh, this one slaps. Oh my God, it has no right going as hard as it does.
It doesn't.
This, again, was another sleeper hit. I hadn't seen really any of it.
Yeah.
Except on TikTok, when people were like, hey, have you seen this?
When I saw
No,
the
but I will.
opening, the like first episode, the opening was shown everywhere, all over like Twitter, TikTok, everything, and I was like, wait,
Beautiful.
what are we seeing here?
Yeah,
And
it was like, gimme.
really good.
Like, I like the outro music and like the first
weird.
15 seconds of it, but then they make her do this weird dance where she's like lifting her knees up and down, and you're
And
just
like waving her
and
arm,
hand.
waving
You're like,
one arm, like she's drowning on land.
So like it's weird. Like any of the bits where like they're scrolling the credits and it's like she's like doing this weird dance, you're just like, that just kind of, no one's going to do that dance.
Yeah. I thought I wouldn't be sold on it because the art style is really old school.
It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
it is.
Yeah, it's like quite 90s, but also like a modern
Kind of
modern
reminiscent of like how
colours.
Dororo did like the modernization of the old art style. This
have,
is
like,
like
the
they've done a similar
small-
thing.
Smaller
Yeah.
heads and longer bodies.
and
Yeah.
sharp hair,
Big
if that makes
hands.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yowie hands.
Yeah, the yaoi hands for sure.
Also, like her hair is phenomenally well drawn.
she's honestly a beautiful character
She is.
design.
Yeah.
She is.
Absolutely stunning.
But they also have this great thing, like you think at the very start of it that, you know, she's, despite being from a Yakuza family, you think at the initial outset that she's not there to, she doesn't have that Yakuza trait. Nah, she do. She do. And whenever they
genetic.
go full Yakuza,
Oh, yeah,
any
yeah.
character, their eyes go yellow like they're a predator.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
really cool.
She is like peak Yakuza wife material.
Yeah, 100%.
Like general, like normal person until someone messes with her or hers and she's like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm throwing a bike at you. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. Or I'm going to entrap you.
Yeah.
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 And it's like that. And all the people that this happens to deserve it.
Yeah.
So it's very satisfying.
Yeah, like one time she like hits a guy over the head with her hairdryer. She's like, man, I just bought this.
Yeah.
Not like, you know, there's 3 guys trying to attack us and kill us. It's I just bought this.
But yeah, Yakuza Fiancé, highly recommend. Regardless of whether you're male or female, I think this is one that actually does have a pretty broad appeal. It's got a lot of good action in it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of intrigue.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of comedy as well.
I think I started watching this and then you joined in. And then I wasn't allowed to watch it without you.
Yeah, correct. Because I was like, this is beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 2 for that has been confirmed as well. No release date yet though, as well. Same with Ranma, same with Dan to Dan. All of these are getting a second season, which is great. I'm guessing the boys are playing in the curtains.
Oh my God, are they ever?
They're being cute.
I can only see Kumo's like butt and feet right now because, oh, there we go. Because the rest of him was like, Liger was attacking him under the curtain.
Yeah. So because we're both in here, the cats must be in here.
Yes.
Otherwise, they will just paw at the door and attack it and meow for the whole time. It's fine. We're the only ones in the house today, so ta-da. So look, if we've missed one of your picks from the last season, and let's be honest, there was a lot last season that's worth talking about. There was Blue Lock's return. There was Blue Box, which we still need to finish, which is still ongoing.
That one was really good too.
The Shangri-La Frontier season 2, which Aaron has just been going, yep, they've continued it and they've nailed it. There was like a good 10 shows that were worth checking out last season that across like the demographic of different types of stories. There was one for pretty much everyone, but it wasn't too much, which was a nice change. And this season kind of feels like it might be the same. I think there's going to be a couple of extras that get slapped on as the season continues, where we go, okay, this is actually really good. But like, there are a lot of harem animes this season. There's about
There's a
5
lot
or
of
6.
isekai.
There's a lot of isekai. There's about 5 or 6 as well that are based on video games, but they're mobile games, so they look incredibly low quality.
I feel like there's at least one every season that I'm excited about, and then I watch like the full trailer when it comes out, and it turns out to be a harem.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you are so close.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind a harem anime if they make it very clear that there is going to be a choice and that it's going to be fairly quick. But like, you know, if there are others who are interested in the main character, fair enough. But as long as his eyes are only on one person, then I'm okay with it. But otherwise, no. Like, that's not how we roll. Maybe it's because I'm old and married. Like, who knows? But anyway, look, if you do have one of the shows from last season that you really enjoyed and we haven't talked about, drop in the comments. We'd love to know about it. And it might be that we have watched it and just haven't had a chance to mention it because, yeah, it's... The last month's been busy for all of us, I can imagine. Anyway, with that, let's get into the anime news.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
Well, as always, starting with controversy, it's all Sony and Crunchyroll, as always. Sony has become the largest shareholder in Kadokawa as of January. They are going to hold 10% of the shares after buying 12 million new shares, about 50 billion yen worth. So that's 500 million, $500 million US equivalent. That's a lot. This was announced as part of the two companies forming a strategic capital and business alliance. And this is basically to ensure that Kadokawa's products continue to be released and that Sony has a solid stream of content coming in for them to produce as well. This is interesting as well because Kadokawa... Was it Kadokawa who signed the recent agreement with Disney?
Yeah, I think it was actually.
Yeah, so I feel like this is Crunchyroll, Sony trying to stem that a little bit by being directly involved. Now, they only have 10% of Kadokawa shares, so they're not in a stakeholder controlling position, and that's a good thing. I hope Kadokawa only have 49% of their value on the market so that they can remain in control of everything. But I think this will be a good way to continue to expand the things they want to do.
It's a firm investment in Kadokawa. So when you put it as they have the controlling share, like not the controlling share, the biggest cut.
Yeah, the majority.
It sounds bad because generally that's what companies do when they want to
buy something and shut it down.
Pretty much.
Looking at you, Microsoft.
I was like, R.I.P. Vine.
Yeah.
But yeah, only being 10% is actually...
It's reasonable.
Yeah, it feels okay.
It feels like it's an actual business proposition as opposed to a takeover.
They're trying to back the right horse.
Yeah. So Sony said that the two companies are going to discuss specific collaboration initiatives, including adapting Kadokawa's IP into live-action films and TV dramas globally, because there are some normal books and novels in Kadokawa's staple that kind of lean towards the J-drama sort of type of content. And they also want to expand the distribution of Kadokawa's anime works through Sony Group, i.e. that does mean that most Aniplex A1 and Kadokawa shows are all going to be under the same umbrella and brand, so probably all definitively Crunchyroll. Kadokawa has also stated that it's going to help them expand their scope of game publishing because they do have mobile games and other stuff as well, and they are looking to go into console gaming more than they already have. So that'll be getting like a console game for mangas, basically, like we've seen with like what's happened with Shonen Jump. And then further expand their human resources. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, do you mean like humans that work for you or the HR department?
I think the HR department. So, but either way, Kadokawa states that they plan to use the 20 billion yen from January 2025 to March 2030. That is part of the agreement to create, develop, and acquire new IP, and then to use the other 29.7 billion yen from January 2025 to March 30 to enhance its IP distribution globally. So basically, this is all about Kadokawa getting more of their content out into the international market instead of focusing just on the Japanese market and then using external distributors, which has been kind of the way things have ran up until the last couple of years, where they've realized, hey, people like our stuff. So interestingly, the breakdown of who owns Kadokawa after this is that Korea's security depository of Samsung owns 10.01%, so just 0.01% more than Samsung. The Master Trust Group of Japan, Master Trust Bank of Japan owns 9.7, Goldman Sachs International 7.3, Custody Bank of Japan.
Of Kadokawa?
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. They are an equity firm. Yeah, I know.
Disturbing.
I know. Bandai Namco's got about 2%, State Street Bank and Trust Companies 2%, Nippon Life Insurance 2%, Nippon Telegraph and Telecom. A lot of Japanese companies, basically. So at least, it's not like 50% owned by like BlackRock or something or that'd be a bit concerning. Anyway, we can move on from there to more Crunchyroll news, which is obviously directly related to Sony. They've announced that they're going to launch a new manga app later this year. It's going to offer the manga in English in the US and Canada, with plans to roll out in other languages worldwide later. So whether that means those in Australia are going to get a different one, I'm not sure, but it comes at a very interesting time after they've made this agreement with Katakawa literally the week before this was announced. So, you're trying to get the boy up there.
Yes.
No, you're failing.
Yes.
So, later, confirm with me if I'm wrong here, Tifa, but Crunchyroll has always had manga, but then I feel like they closed down their manga app recently.
Well, there's a Shonen Jump manga app. Crunchyroll sells manga, but I don't think they had one where you could read online. They sold it, but yeah.
Yeah, so they did have a manga app which was in 2013 and ran to 2023 and 2018.
I think it became just the Shonen app for everybody in English countries, basically.
Yeah, because it was an agreement with Kodansha USA Publishing. But then they started removing stuff in 2018, and by 2023 they'd removed everything, so they just shut it down due to changes in its distribution program. So so that ended in December 2023. So that explains what this is there to replace. So it does look like those in Canada and the US, so North America will get it first, and then future expansion to the world once those distribution agreements get put in place. Crunchyroll's also delaying the English dubbing of 22 new shows episodes due to the severe weather that is impacting the US at the moment. This is both on the west and east coast, so you've got extreme storms on the east coast and obviously the bushfire situation in California on the west coast. So this is affecting episodes of 11 different series. Blue Lock, MF Ghost, Natsume's Book of Friends, Arifureta, You Are Miss Servant, Fairy Tale's 100-Year Quest, I'll Become a Villainess Who Goes Down in History, Shangri-La Frontier, Prince of Tennis 2, Demon Lord 2099, and Trillionaire Game. Now, these are all shows which are in their second half of their season run. So they're all, in they've already had 10 to 12 episodes each already out. So this is because of that. So this is, this is a significant winter storm rolled into the southern United States, covering Texas on Friday, Atlanta, and southern Oklahoma. And then obviously with their main in-house dubbing based in studio in Texas, and then outsourced to LA as well for some of their voice actors as well. Both of those locations are no-go at the moment. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if the dub for the upcoming seasons are also delayed. So just keep that in mind, that dubs might not be as easy to come across this season while these situations are in place. Hopefully everyone over there is staying safe though, because here in WA, Western Australia, we have a lot of bushfires. I used to do bushfire coverage when I was a journalist, and it's not easy, especially for those impacted. So if you can do something to help out friends or family or anyone you do know in those areas, please do.
I heard they just got some water bombers in from Canada and Mexico, which is awesome.
I'm surprised our firefighters haven't gone over yet, but it's probably because they're too busy dealing with stuff here.
Yeah, there were fires over here in East as well.
Yeah.
A bunch of them. That was just,
They probably just have Australians on their retinue now.
They probably do, actually, after the last one,
Yeah.
So let's go on to something more positive. So My Hero Academia's final season has been confirmed for October this year, and that's going to be season 6. And in April, we finally get My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the spin-off manga, which is a prequel. This could run comfortably for 2 25-episode seasons and cover the whole story. It is a fantastic series. I did a video on it, I think, about a year and a half, 2 years ago on the manga, and it's worth checking out. It's good fun. I'll make sure I link it in the video or video description or up in the YouTube video. But It's amazing. It's good fun. It's very, very cheesy. You will see knockoff versions of Marvel heroes. So like the equivalent of Captain America, but he's just got like, a dustbin cover and stuff like that. And, you have Hawkeye, except that, he's Eagle Man and he's got a bow and he can't aim for his life. It takes a lot of like parody elements and it does it really well. So it's really good. And it also you can see a little bit of what's going on with All Might before he kind of starts losing his power, if that makes sense as well. So it gives you a little bit more background. It also explains some of the history for Aizawa Sensei and his friends as well, which ends up playing important into the final battles. So worth checking out. It's a lot of fun. Moving on from both of those, we've got a heap of new animes and updates. First up, and to my absolute adoration and excitement, Kowloon Generic Romance is getting an anime. It's landing in April. I'm so hyped for this. It is a manga I've been reading for quite a long time that doesn't seem to get a lot of attention. If you haven't heard of this, first things, mini history lesson. Kowloon was a walled city that was in Hong Kong. It was a lawless area and it had a lot of questionable businesses in there. And because there was no, I guess you could say, planning regulation, the only limitation was how high you could build in the area. So it became an insane,
it was a limited block
Yeah.
and then became like extremely dense living, but that's not enough to...
It was the most densely populated square kilometre on the planet.
Yeah.
Like even more than New York or anywhere else.
Like extreme density.
Yeah. And the thing is as well is that this was during that period where, Hong Kong was kind of in flux. The story of Kowloon originated that it was like... It was a Chinese military outpost after they'd ceded the area to the UK for 100 years in a dodgy deal, because the UK, I understand why China's annoyed at everyone, because they got messed around a lot in the 1800s. But the thing is that this military base was considered to be Chinese territory, and China didn't want to look after it, and the British didn't want to look after it, so it became an extrajudicial territory where no one wanted to take control of it. Yeah. No one wanted to be involved in it. So if you couldn't afford to get stuff done in Hong Kong, like dentistry and medical, you'd go to Kowloon and get it done on the cheap, where there was no taxes, laws, regulations, or rules. It became a bit of a lawless place, and then it was demolished about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, late 90s, I believe. It's now got a big park there and like a whole thing about what it was, but yeah, it was a whole mess. This story is set in Kowloon 2, as in like the second Kowloon, which doesn't seem to make sense from the outset, but the mystery of it will be explained as you go on. Wow, I've got something stuck in my throat now. I'm sounding a bit croaky. So basically it says, welcome to Kowloon Walled City, a dystopian townscape where the people are brimming with nostalgia and where the past, present and future are all converging. Amid the hidden emotions and extraordinary daily lives of the men and women working in its confines, a tale of romance begins to unfold for real estate agent Reiko Kujiara, one that feels as familiar as Kowloon itself. There's a whole question about existence, so it's a little bit of existentialism, if you will, into it, because it's not quite clear who is real and not, and whether Kowloon is real or not, and that's a big thing that gets played with a lot in this story. It's really good. The romance to this is kind of like a secondary element to the story. The main element of the story is the mystery of Kowloon, and there's a lot of stuff going on. There's people who come in and set up clinics and stuff. There are people who are searching for things that are meant to be long gone. It's good fun. It's a really well done story, and the characters are just really interesting as well. This was written by Miyazuki, and he previously wrote After the Rain. So she previously wrote After the Rain, and we've talked about After the Rain and the issues it has with it, because it's like a teenage girl who's obsessed with a 40-year-old man at work. Yep. It was beautifully animated, but the story was just, and thankfully they don't end up together. Like I think
you told me about this one.
Like, yeah, no, Not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's
but
fair.
yeah. Anyway, that's coming in April this year. Very excited for it. I think that will actually end up being a pretty popular one that season. It's probably not going to be like treated as like a blockbuster like Dan to Dan or something, but it'll be like Yakuza Fiance. It'll be a sleeper hit that, a big demographic will enjoy. Undead Unluck has got a 1 hour special coming out in winter 2025, which means this quarter. We don't know when. But it's going to have a brand new UMA called Balance in it. It's an original story, runs for an hour. Not sure if it's going to cinemas. We haven't got any information on that for international release. It might just stream internationally, but it just says it will debut in winter 2025. That's all we've got. We do know season 2 is on the way, but that hasn't got a release date just yet. So that'll be good too. Dan to Dan second season is set for July this year as well. It's just going to continue the story as it was going.
That feels fast.
It is fast,
It
yeah.
is.
That's only a 3 month
was
gap.
awesome.
No, 6
Yeah, it
month
was
gap.
confirmed before season 1 even aired or something like that. They were like, yep, we're doing 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, that
It's good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
like Dr. Stone takes forever.
Yeah, about a year between them,
Yeah.
yeah. Kaiju number 8 second season also debuting in July. Keep in mind that was about 12 months ago when season 1 came out.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it finished in October.
First season premiered on April 13 and aired for 12 episodes, so it will be 12 months after the finish of the original season. Yeah. Then Kaiju number 8 is also getting a compilation film with an extra added story onto it, which is going to debut in March in Japan, 28th of March. Then we'll screen worldwide, though we do not know what the schedule is for that yet, whether it will be dubbed straight away. Spy Family is returning for its 3rd season in October this year as well. And Chainsaw Man, the movie, which is covering the Res arc of the manga, that is going to debut in 2025 as well. We don't know when. It's Studio Mappa. It could be at any point in time this year, really. Ranma Half, 2nd season coming, unconfirmed when. And kind of interestingly, Jujutsu Kaisen manga is getting a 16-page new epilogue in the final 30th volume. We touched on this a little bit in the pre-show for the Patreon. And Tifa, as you were saying, the finale wasn't necessarily very well received. It wasn't poorly written or anything like that, but there were outstanding circumstances around it, weren't there?
Yeah, and just the author's mental health during the time wasn't that great, so he also felt like he didn't get to finish it off the way that he had perhaps intended when he started the series as well, and because of everything everyone says online, and this person is also chronically online and sees all these things, so just an FYI, what you say online people do see. He's obviously gone and kind of done the epilogue to now that he's reflected and is in a better mental health state, so I think that's quite nice that they have the opportunity to actually do that, because not everyone has the chance to actually do that, but it's unfortunate that they were in that mental state. So
so the 16 pages are going to cover 4 epilogues of newly drawn for the manga, and these will focus on 4 characters. I'm not going to say what those 4 characters are, because that will be a spoiler otherwise, because there's a lot which happens in the last sort of major arc, which in the Culling Games, and I do not want to spoil that. That's an incredible run. Yes. Very nice. But that's kind of it. And finally, Ghost of Tsushima Legends game is getting an anime series in 2027. Tifa is the one who tracked this down. It's being directed by the Star Wars Vision director, Mizuno Takanobu. And they've got quite a few people involved in it, along with Crunchyroll. And the game developer Sucker Punch Productions also being involved with Sony on this as well. So this it was announced at CES, which was just basically, the Consumer Electronics Show is now just AI bros.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And I saw a really good tweet the other day where someone's like, day 3 of the dystopian landscape that is CES 2025. And I come across an oasis. It's the VLC booth. They're all dressed as wizards, and I tell them I've been using their software to pirate stuff for years. They say, cool, keep at it. I don't know if that's true and VLC was actually there because VLC obviously isn't selling anything.
I know, but I really like the idea that they were there.
I like the idea they were there
hope
dressed
that
as
they were
wizards. I hope they were.
VLC is the hero we all deserve.
Yeah, VLC and Pot Player. They're two very good media players if you need an alternative to like your built-in system once, and they work on everything.
You need an alternative.
You do.
There is not if you. You do.
That is so true.
I've used VLC for years.
So that's kind of it for the anime news. We were kind of surprised. We thought there would be a lot more news over the Christmas, New Year's break. We did expect, obviously, there to be a lull while studios shut down and stuff, but it's mostly just been, hey, here's the new song for this anime season, and so on. So that covers all the way back to Christmas, news-wise, for major headlines, which is surprising. Like, over that period, we thought there would have been, like, double that. So, yeah. Either way, hopefully that means in the next couple of weeks we'll start seeing some more heavy news content come out that, you know, about what's coming up this year, some more dedicated dates for all these shows that are penciled in. Really want an update on when the Lazarus anime is coming out. That's by Shinichiro Watanabe, who does Cowboy Bebop. It sounds fascinating. Really looking forward to that too. So, hopefully we'll have a bit more to share with you next episode. But between now and then, make sure you double check if there's anything you want to find out. Go to Anime News Network. They've always got the latest details. So worth checking out. Anyway, that is where we're going to wrap up.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Well, that is the first episode of 2025, our 7th season.
Good Lord.
What? I don't think I've ever stuck to anything this long ever. 7 years? I have ADD. My attention span's tiny. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say
Can
ADHD,
confirm.
brain go burr.
yeah, ADD brain go brr. So, next episode, it is time for the 2025 Anime Awards, the Kawaii-Fi Awards. We are going to follow the same format we did last year, which is we're all going to get together and share our picks for each of those categories that we believe deserves to be the winner. We will, of course, be putting up a Patreon message shortly after this one goes live for our Patreon's picks of the year, for what their animes of the year were, so they can get in and vote that in the comments section. So Patreon members, please make sure you do check your Patreon emails, because it'll only be open for probably a week and a half, just so we have time to prep and make sure we've got all the information. Obviously, usual rules apply. You can't obviously submit content which is not suitable for the normal show. So you can't say that is anime of the year, because it's not an anime. It's chicken formal wear, guys. Come on. So yeah. Anyway, if you have enjoyed what you've heard, hit the subscribe button. Join us for the future episodes, especially the next episode for the awards. Subscribe button has a snowball behind it, so you can throw it at your best friend. So make sure you hit it. It's a beautiful, crisp, frozen ball of ice, and it will give them pain. It'll be hilarious. Do it. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the like button too, and let us know what shows you're looking forward to this season down in the comments section. And if you do want to support the channel, we also have our Patreon. And as always, thank you to our Patreon members. If you want extra content like our pre-show, we did have a couple of exclusive episodes last year for the Patreon, which were not, I guess you could say they weren't PG rated, which is our normal aim for each of these episodes. That's where you can find that additional content.
Paywall.
Yeah.
Paywall to get the goods.
$1. $1 a month. Everything we get from Patreon goes back into the website. Into the show. All of our money basically sits there as a fund for anything we need for the show. We don't get paid. We do this because we love it. And, you know, we would love to get paid for it someday, but for now, we want to make sure that we're constantly doing the good stuff, making the goods, doing the things. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. It's been a week. Now, if you would like to join the Kawaii-Fi community, you can get our details over on social media for anime news, occasional memes, and so on. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Discord. No more Twitter X. We're done. That we'll be putting up a notification for that. We did mention it throughout last year. That last year was going to be the last year for Twitter and X.
Like rats off a sinking ship.
Yep. Look, it was a cesspit. We got no engagement, and I don't want to have to reduce the text that I put everywhere for the episode down to the limit without paying more money. Like, no. Why bother? So that's where you can find us for now. But look, that's kind of where we'll leave things for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the Anime Awards. Aaron is off getting a dentist appointment, and Kenny's at work this week. Kira Lee's looking after the girls. They've got a big family event on, I believe. So that's why it's us three today. The wonderful Emma, the fantastic Tifa. Look, we hope you've had a good Christmas New Year period, whatever you do celebrate. And welcome to 2025. It only gets worse from here. So you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, watch some anime. You sync it up in post. It works.